Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, January 26th. Looking at Window Traders market profile of the ES and NQ. So we'll go over all the charts tonight. Look, it's kind of a mixed day. We hit an all-time high in the Dow, SPX, ES, and SPY. But inside day up, except for C period, failed. So we know, D period went a little high, but C had the best legs, and that was it. We only have 1 point of excess from the all-time high. So inside day up failed. Righty goes out. Righty attempted to go trend down all 5 days this week. By the end of the week, there's nothing. So they're in a 5-day balance, and they held their weekly gap. Okay? We'll go over all the charts later. They go out with a 9-wide point of control and an afternoon rally high in F. NQ goes out with a 9-wide POC. I'm calling them down on the daily now, and they filled their gap from the other day. ES goes out 9-wide, and the day's high and low. Good day overall. Especially with a small range. Our range is $2.58, smallest range, third smallest range of the year again. So the ranges have been small, but it was still good opportunities. Did very well, and I switched, and we saw the market well. First off, this in G period is a mini liquidation break, and after it happened, and once we got below the opening, because I had been looking for longs above that, I said I'm neutral. And I believe we trading G's range the rest of the day. Well, except for just about a 2-point move below G's low, we did exactly that for 3 hours. Okay? Traded G's range. That's it. Missed a short in K period in both ES and NQ. I had an offer in at 24, traded up to 23.75. Had an offer in at 80 in NQ, traded up to 74 and change. So we had that nailed, but I never got the short. But I had a good day and a very good week. So early on, I was short in NQ in both A and B for a couple of reasons. Number one, they got yesterday's low to go down. Number two, they filled the gap. Number three, they were one-time framing down. Number four, they couldn't get above the opening. So in A and B, I shorted NQ and did very well on it. Then in B period also, I shorted ES the first time against the opening when it came back up, made money on that. Now, once we started getting above the openings and stuff, I said the short game is now over, and I switched long. And I was long in C period in ES to go get the overnight high. I was long in NQ in C period to get the overnight high. Both those worked out. And then ES, I was long on the ebb and flow trade when we had trend. Now again, we failed at a trend day up. That means 2 out of 14 trend days have held this year on the upside. We also attempted to go trend down and failed. 0 for 11. 9 out of 18 times we've taken out both IBs. So those are some stunning stats early, along with the gaps that are 1 for 9 this year that have held. So those ebb and flow trades worked in ES and D period. Also took a long in E period. Once we filled the single prints in ES, and that worked out. Looking what I did then. G period. I was long both ES and NQ, thinking it was an afternoon pullback. I made money in NQ. It gave me, when I bought it, enough of a push up where I made money on it. In ES, it did not, and I took a loss on that, but nothing huge. And then in J period, I longed ES to stop the one-time framing, which worked. And in K period, same thing. I took the long in ES. Well, we didn't stop the one-time framing in ES and J, but I still got paid where I bought it. And then in K, it finally worked. And then again, I tried to short K's high in both of these, but never got it. So really good day, really good week. We end up about $5 on the week again. So again, even though, well, I'll show you on the charts, I mean, the Bulls are still in control, even though they're not getting a lot of distance away. As far as our destinations, 9 wide POC, 487.48 in SPY, and then 489.12 is a weekly high and the all-time high right now. Downside is 486.54, today's low. In ES, 17 and a quarter is 9 wide, and 34 and a quarter is their all-time high. And on the downside, 0750 is today's low. Now let's go to those charts, because that's the thing I want to spend some time on. So IWM, here's the monthly. IWM is an inside month right now with 3 trading days to go. I told you I'm keeping them balanced, even though they took out finally that balance high last month, because they closed back in it, and I want some real confirmation that they mean business to the upside. We haven't gotten that yet. So I don't have a problem with an inside month. If we take out the inside month, go with it and monitor for continuation, and then we'll see if we do finally call the monthly up. However, if we do have an inside month and come out of it to the downside, all this was again was a failure and stretching a 23, 24, whatever the heck it is, balance high. So for now, I am still calling them balance. The swing trade worked beautifully, but I guarantee you they also took the swing trade again, even with this new high. We talked about this a while ago, and probably using this month's high as their out. Okay? They don't mind a $7 risk versus a 40-point gain if this thing trades to the other side of balance. So the monthly is balanced in IWM. The weekly is balanced. However, the impressive thing for now is they held the weekly gap. Even though they tried to go trend down 5 days this week, they held them a couple of days, but they all got taken back eventually. So sometimes, again, what doesn't happen is more important than what does happen. Well, what didn't happen is they didn't hold trend down, and what didn't happen is they couldn't go and fill the weekly gap. But it's still balanced. Now, if we take out this week's high next week, I'll call them up again. If we take out this week's low, it's still balanced to me. Last week's low would be the bottom of the balance. So I'm calling this a 3-week balance right now. So, surprise, surprise, IWM balance on the monthly, the weekly, and guess what? The daily. They seem to be in perpetual balance, the Russell. Now, it's a 5-day balance, and all 5 days we either went through, back and forth through the 20, or just touched it. So this is a critical level for IWM, right? They're building up energy, hopefully. If you come out of it to the upside, guess what? There's a chance we're going to finally, get our monthly going again. If we come out of these balances on the monthly, weekly, and daily to the upside. Come out of it to the downside, then you have to start worrying about if they're going to reverse course and be the canary in the coal mine for the market as a whole. So they're balanced on all 3 time frames. Triple Qs and NQ, up on the monthly, all-time highs. Up on the weekly, 1 time frame and up 3 weeks, all-time highs. Daily, I'm going to call it down. You can call it a 3-day balance, but I used yesterday as a 2-day balance. They filled the gap. I'm going to call it down and make them prove themselves by taking out today's high. Right? If they take out today's high, back to balance. But for now, I'm going to call the daily down. So monthly and weekly are up, and the daily's down. As for ES and SPY, very healthy on the monthly, 1 time frame up 3 months, all-time high again. Weekly, up 1 time frame and up 3 weeks. We're in uncharted territory on both the monthly and the weekly. Now here's the daily. Some people will call this a 3-day balance. I'm calling it up to balance because how do I call this strictly balance when we're 1 time frame and up 7 days? I know we haven't gotten much distance. I know the range and volume have stunk, but I got to give the bulls a little due. So for now, I'm going to still call it up to balance and see what we get out of it come Monday. Look, we read the market really well today and all week. We didn't wait until late in the day. I'm going to go back here real quick to the profile. We didn't wait for late in the day to say I think the odds are good to trade in G's range. As soon as G finished and H didn't take out G's low, I told the room the odds of us trading just G's range the rest of the day have gone up dramatically. Once we couldn't hold trend. We started with like a tick single print. And guess what? We did that. So these are the things we talk about. Here's another huge thing. When G opened, and I said this to the room, we couldn't get D's low. Remember, we talk about that a lot. Huge, huge nuance. And what happened? Went down. So these are the things we talk about all day. So hopefully you come check us out. Hope you had a good week trading. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Thanks for liking and subscribing to this channel. And we'll speak prior to the opening on Monday.